possibly even invest. So make sure that if you know someone that fits that category, we would love to speak to them. Without further ado, I'm excited to announce to you our presenters of the day. Our first presenters come to us from Springfield, Missouri, and they're in the field of functional neuro health medicine. Functional neuro health medicine. Some of you are already going, what is that? You're going to find out this morning, and you're going to have an opportunity to participate with them and share with them how they could grow their business. They're going to share with you the challenges today. I'm proud to announce to you this morning that we have some great sponsors as well. Before I officially give them the microphone, we want to thank Southwest Missouri Bank for bringing a great presenting sponsor this morning. Let's give Southwest Missouri Bank a hand. Also, the Joplin Area Chamber of Commerce for making sure the logistics of this meeting happen each and every week. Doug and Alyssa and Aaron and the entire team and Toby continue to work tirelessly behind the scenes on the promotional efforts and also the logistics of coordinating the room space. So let's give the Chamber a big hand this morning as well. We also want to thank Gina Gottman of the Joplin Public Library. Gina was on the ground floor of 1 Million Cups from the beginning, and she was also a veteran 1 Million Cups presenter and sponsor in the Springfield market. We're very happy to have the library on board. Let's give the library a big hand this morning as well. Also, we have the Missouri Technology Center, which is also a great sponsor, helping us make sure the technology in this building functions well. And many others, including Granny Schaefer's, that provides our coffee every single morning, that keeps us caffeinated while we connect. Without further ado, I want to introduce Kaylee Maggard and Pamela Hernandez. Kaylee is the Chief Operating Officer for the Sharlin Health and Neurology Functional Medicine Center. And Pamela Hernandez is the Medical Fitness Director. They're going to talk to you today about neuromedical health. Please welcome Kaylee and Pamela this morning.
Good morning. I'm going to do this a little different. I'm not going to wear this because I'm going to pass this over to Kaylee, but thank you so much for having us here this morning. As you said, my name is Pamela Hernandez. Oh, she's going to take it in my pocket. Awesome. Medical Fitness Director for Sharlin Health and Neurology. I do want to talk to you today about Sharlin Health and Neuro Fitness. Our wonderful COO, Kaylee Maggard, is here with me from Sharlin Health and Neurology. And I really kind of want to start there when we talk about Sharlin Health and Neuro Fitness, because Neuro Fitness just came to be in September of 2020. So we were just telling JD, we did launch something during a pandemic, but how we got there is really a function of, let me make sure the clicker's on. We're going to have some technical challenges this morning. There it goes, is a function of the story of Sharlin Health and Neurology and the Brain Tune-Up program. Sharlin Health and Neurofitness wouldn't be here without this story going on 5 years. So I'm going to turn this over to Kaylee so she can kind of give you the background of how we got here.
Hi everyone. So I have been with Sharlin Health and Neurology from the ground up. So there was not even cabinets on the walls when we started, and Dr. Sharlin really had a vision that he wanted to provide true health care for people who were wanting to make a difference in their own health, that wanted to be an active participant in their health. And so our mission at Sharlin Health and Neurology is to provide the most complete neurological care that patients could find anywhere. That includes traditional neurology, just like you would find anywhere, functional medicine, we do clinical trials, we have health coaching, nutrition, and then of course, neurofitness. And so our motto is your health, your choices, our solutions. And no matter where patients come to us, we really focus on our 5-pillar approach. So we identify, investigate, integrate, and restore and regenerate. So when people come to us, we identify what the problem is. What is actually going on, right? What are your symptoms? What are you experiencing? And then we investigate. So we do the testing, right? We do the appropriate testing and we rule out everything that it could possibly be. So you have a true diagnosis, and maybe a diagnosis isn't something that you're looking for. Maybe you just want to feel well, and that's okay too. So we'll focus on that, but we integrate. So our team comes together and puts together a plan that's unique and customized for you and your needs and what you're looking to achieve. Then we restore. So our goal is to make sure that we've really created this really strong foundation of health for you to build upon. And then we focus on regeneration. So I always say, I don't want you to feel like your old self, right? Because your old self is what got you to us. We want you to feel like your best self. What is this new you look like? And so when patients come to us, we of course, it's their health, their choices, and we help provide the solutions to them.
And so that is how we got to movement as medicine. That is how this concept of neurofitness was born, because when you look at things from a functional medicine approach, you're looking at everything that's going on. Movement is a huge modifiable lifestyle factor for people. And so my job when I came on, because I've only been with the team since July, almost a year. I'm expecting a party. Kidding. My job was to really not just open a fitness center, which we did in September, but define what is neurofitness and devise that approach, develop what assessment looks like. And so neurofitness is based on functional movement principles, which is my background, along with neurospecific tools and strategies, because we are looking at memory and motor skills, how we can make the brain stronger, optimal results not just for your body, but for your brain. So the purpose was to meet the growing needs of our brain tune-up program. So that's our functional medicine program. So that is where we are looking at that whole person approach. But it was also to bring this approach to people who are not in the program. Like Kaylee said, people just want to feel better. And movement is something that is essential to feeling your best self, to functioning at your highest level. So having the fitness center, having the neurofitness programs was a way that people could come in and start experiencing this, but they doesn't necessarily need the whole program. And then finally, is to provide a fitness option that meets people where they are, and that's both physically where they are. So what we do is very specialized. And I hear this from people all the time. I'll be on calls, giving presentations. How do I find somebody who's not afraid to work with me because I have MS? Well, that's great. I can work with you virtually, right? I can design your program. We can do virtual sessions. People can come into the fitness center and feel safe. We put a lot of measures in place during the pandemic so people could come in and feel like they're in a safe environment. So again, meeting them in that space, but also meeting them where they're at from a function level. The problem with fitness as we know it is it's driven towards people who are already well and fit. And so this is really designed for people at all levels. So I'm not going to go through every element of this, but sort of our unique solution, the neurofitness blueprint, is about first that assessment, which developed with a little blessing and sign off from Dr. Sharlin and my fitness background, to figure out where people are. Just like Kaylee said, we've got to identify, we've got to investigate, where are you? Where are your weak links? So based on those weak links, based on your current function, we come in at level 1, 2, or 3. We need to repair. If you're at level 1, everybody's got some cracks in the foundation, but some people have more cracks than others. You can't build a solid house without repairing those cracks. So we work on that. Maybe you're level 2, maybe you don't have as many cracks. I've always got to work on my posture. So, that's one of those cracks I think a lot of us have in the foundation. So I see everybody sit up straight too. You're all like, oh, there it is. But maybe you're level 2, you're moving a little bit better. That's where we really focus on functional movement, or as one of our members says, it's not exercising for the sake of exercise, it's exercising so we can move better in the world. And then sometimes I get lucky and I get that level 3 person that they're moving really well and now they're ready for those next level strategies. We can dial up the intensity. We can do the things that are really focused on regeneration. So we're not so much in repair anymore, but how can we push those neurotransmitters through exercise? How can we build an even stronger, sturdier house? So I get lucky sometimes when I get those level 3s. Everybody is working on their aerobic activity, because if you look at the science, and Kaylee said, science is the center of everything we do. The most studied modality for movement and brain health is aerobic activity. Now some of that's because it's really easy to put the hamsters on the treadmill and they don't like the little dumbbells, but there's more about strength training and Tai Chi and all of those wonderful mind-body things coming as far as research, but everybody needs to start with that aerobic activity. And then on the top, that's the really neurospecific stuff. So memory, cross-body movements, that's creating a stronger connection between the two halves of the body. Some people need to work on grip. Some people need to work on that mind-body connection. A lot of things that are going on is people just stop listening. They're not paying attention to the signals that are being thrown off, and we can start practicing paying attention to that through movement. reaction time. I have these really cool little pods. They're called Blaze pods, and we do what's called flash reflex training. I love them. I should have brought them today, and we could have all played. Got some people out of their chairs, but next time we'll bring those. So this is the blueprint. This is what we use to create a personalized program for each person, because everybody is different, but if we can assess, we can figure out where people need to go from there. So who is this right for? Are you that person that can't do what you used to do? Your balance is a little off, maybe you're not being able to get up off the floor as easily, you don't have the energy to get through your day the way you used to do. Neurofitness is right for you. This is for the person who is concerned about focus, productivity, memory. You wanted the ultimate productivity hack? Start moving your body, start exercising. Neurofitness is right for you. Have you or someone you love been diagnosed with a neurological condition, particularly multiple sclerosis, Parkinson's disease? Those people tend to work really well and respond really well to our programs and see some really great benefits to, not just from an exercise perspective, but quality of life perspective. So particularly if folks are early stage diagnosis is the right time to get in for all of our programs. The sooner the better. So that's who we're really targeting. That's who we really want to talk to, and who Neurofitness is absolutely perfect for. What makes us different is it's not just about a trainer, very specialized trainer, very specialized protocol, but it is about a team. So I have a wonderful one-page handout that everybody gets that starts with the basics of the brain tune-up eating protocol, and our dietitian is there if they need them. Health coach. I am a health coach. We also have a dedicated health coach on staff because change is hard. Stress resilience, what's getting in our way? It's all those other things in life, right? How do we do that? The importance of purpose, because you need a bigger why sometimes to get past the blocks of time, motivation. So we have our health coach on staff. We have our wonderful care coordinator. That's another hat that Kaylee wears, and so she can kind of help figure out that path. And then of course we have a board certified neurologist, because I don't have all the answers. But if I need an answer, I know exactly where to go. So it is truly a team approach. So the biggest challenge, however, is people hear neuro and they think, oh, neuro rehab, this is PT, this is OT. No, PT is great. I, particularly with our clinic patients, often act a little bit like a concierge. They may need PT as well. They may need OT, they may need speech therapy. But all of the wonderful benefits that you get from physical activity, PT is not enough of a stimulus, right? It's not enough. You need other types of movement. So PT is often limited. 12 weeks, you're out the door. It's usually about a pain or pathology. When you're normal, they're done. We don't want normal, we want optimal. We want that best version of yourself. So that is my big challenge. Neurofitness is prehab, not rehab. I want to build a reserve. So if something does happen, you're here, and maybe your bump is like this, as opposed to this trajectory that we see a lot. We want to promote growth and repair, because exercise is a good stress. If you have any experience in a weight room, they're like, oh yeah, you create those little microscopic tears and that's what makes your muscle grow. Well, it absolutely does, but it's not just your muscle. That growth and repair response can kick into all parts of your body. And then we want to preserve function, because we want you to live the best life possible. And that means being able to get up and do all the things you want to do in life. So that's what Neurofitness is focused on. So what are our next steps? We need community partners. We are an independent clinic. We're not part of a big network, and most people don't realize they can go out of that network. So we're building a community partner network that is other like-minded, not necessarily health businesses, but like-minded businesses. Those are just a few that we have on our team, so that we can refer folks back and forth to each other. Like who's had Spring Branch Kombucha? They're in Springfield. Isn't it the best?
Mine's better.
Throw down, we'll talk.
Hey, there's no competition.
That's true. We like all things.
Yeah.
We have Spring Branch Kombucha in the fitness center. We're getting ready to do some great things with Cycle Bar, which is the new spin studio that's opened up in Springfield. So we're trying to pass back and forth as much as we can, because we want to give people all the healthy choices that they need. The other thing, I term it as research and development. And so one, I'm getting ready to, after about 6 months, revamp the neurofitness assessment based on what I've learned and seen, because we're always learning, right? That's that data collection piece. We're always learning, we're always growing. And I'm also working on a project that's really special to me. I don't want to talk about it too much, but it has to do with fine motor skills and some bricks you may have played with when you were a kid. If you're an AFOL, you'll know what that means. But I'm working on some protocol for that, for some fine motor skills that's more play-based. So I'm really excited to do that, and we're going to get that started. And we're also working on some other tools. There's a tool called balance-based torso weighting, which I wish I could have put that video in. It's a pretty amazing tool using a weighting system to help people with severe balance issues. And again, I don't think there's anybody in our area doing it. So we're bringing in all sorts of new tools. So I call that research and development. And of course, we're always trying to build connection, whether that's just with me asking questions. In case you haven't noticed, I love to talk about what I do. But joining our private Facebook group, it is private because I want people to feel like they're part of the community, safe space, ask questions, but anybody can join. Or follow us on Instagram. That's where you get the fun little exercise demonstrations, maybe a picture of Kaylee and I here today, just whatever, random things happening in the clinic. So join us there. And then from the community, certainly checking us out and contacting us through the website, but what we really need help with right now, it's referrals, because again, we are independent. A lot of people do not know. We're actually in Ozark, just barely Ozark. If you know where Lambert's is, we're right down the street. A lot of people don't know we're there, and so referrals are extremely important both for the clinic and for neurofitness, because it's not a big gym, it's not a big chain gym. People what is this neuro rehab? No, it's not rehab. Referrals are huge. The other challenge, and we're going to kind of speak to this a little differently, is staffing. I'm looking for interns. I have only had one intern since we opened. It is extremely hard to find people right now to do internships and who are going through kinesiology programs, other exercise science programs. Extremely challenging. So for me, interns are great help, and I can give them an experience that is not going to be like anything else at any other gym they go try to get an internship at. So, and I know Kaylee has some staffing needs too for the clinic.
Yeah, so we do a lot of things. And so when we hire people, because we do so many things and it's so specialized, we need people who are really critical thinkers and who have a passion for learning. So I can say that's something that we do that is never in lack of. We always have something else to learn, an additional thing to learn about, and we love to teach. And so if you know of anybody who's looking for a position, RN, LPN, who is maybe burnt out working in the hospital systems, or who is looking for a change in somewhere where they can build a home, we are hiring. So our growth is really expanding right now, and so we're going to need a lot of really smart people. My 5-year-old, he told me, he said, "Mom, I'm going to come work for you." And I'm like, "You have to be really smart." He said, "Mom, I am smart." And I was like, "Well, you're not wrong, but you're going to have to go to law school." So if you know of anybody, we are hiring, and our post is on Indeed.
And like I said, referrals, because we're always looking to talk to people what we do. And so, you have my email address was up there, we have cards, but certainly just go to the website as well. Functionalmedicine.doctor, that will have all the program information. But if you're specifically entered in neurofitness, there's a page there as well, and you can contact me through that. So thank you very much. I think we're about ready.
Awesome.
For
Let's
questions.
give them a hand this morning. So I have no doubt there's going to be a lot of questions, so let's go ahead and open up the community for questions at this time. Scott?
I have two different questions, but they're kind of on the same idea. The first is, I'd be interested to learn if you guys know or have any background in David Sinclair, a research scientist at Harvard right now that has come up with a test similar to what you're doing when you're doing your baseline test of where someone's at, but he boiled it all the way down to a person's actual age. And so it's not how long you've been here, but they go in and they analyze in your mitochondria, within your DNA, how much energy production you have. Yes. And then they create a number that is your actual age. And what's cool about it is the work that you're doing would impact that number directly, so you can actually show some tangible proof that it's working.
Yeah, so we are able to do testing for telomere length. So you can actually see, and something that's really cool, if anybody's familiar with Prolon or the 5-day fasting mimicking diet, you can actually see telomere length change by doing the 5-day fasting mimicking diet through Prolon. You can talk to our dietitian. She actually has a way that you don't actually have to purchase the kit and stuff and still have the same caloric count and macro count and everything for the day for that, where your body is actually in a fasting state. So with Neuro Fitness, I know about the telomere length and the testing for that, but it would be, I think it'd be cool research to look up for sure.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's just a cheek swab. You do it to the mail, you send it in, and then you get your number, and that's how old your body actually is.
Yeah, we can do that testing.
Yeah.
The other thing I'd like to hear some about is Neuralink, because it claims that with Neuralink they'll be able to cure paralysis, MS, Parkinson's, all of these neurological diseases. It's obviously an R&D, but how does that impact what you're doing? Is that an opportunity to embrace that technology when it rolls out, or is it a risk of your model?
Well, I'll turn that over to you because I don't know much about the lyric, but I will say one thing. Sometimes the testing is great from the telomere link, but from a lifestyle perspective, because I have heard about his research, and I actually posted the quiz in our Facebook group yesterday. I don't know if you know Dr. Terry Walls. She is an MS researcher, and she has a great TED Talk. Like, watch it. She sends a lot of people to our clinic, and she had shared this. And just based on some lifestyle things, you can go in and they'll give you sort of that your biological versus your chronological age. So if you're not ready to do the telomere testing yet, just go take that quiz and see what it says based on your lifestyle factors, because that will tell you a lot. But then I'm not familiar with the Neuralink, but I feel like I have an idea.
So I would say that we're always talking about creating new neural pathways, and that's something you can do through different movements and things like that. With the actual technology right now, we are using like a halo device, for example, with Parkinson's patients, because a lot of CrossFitters have used it too, because it actually helps create those neural pathways, those memory pathways faster. So they have shown that people who do the same type of movement, they're able to have greater gains with fitness, especially like Parkinson's, MS. I would say when it comes to like curing these type of neurological diseases, it's not just one thing. It's never one thing. It's a great tool, and we'll use all the tools. Like, the tools don't threaten us. We're like, great, give us all of them. Like, we'll put them all into play for the right person at the right time.
Neuralink goes in and overrides your system. It's an implant.
Yeah.
And it overrides everything and literally takes over your body. And
Yeah.
It's cured paralysis in apes already.
Yeah, I think the technology is really cool, but even with Parkinson's patients, to have them get like a deep brain stimulator, even though it will improve their quality of life tenfold, they won't do it, right? So how many people are you actually gonna get to sign up with this? I see tons and tons of MS patients that won't make modifiable lifestyle factors because it's easier to take a drug. That the drug is beneficial, so don't get me wrong, the drug is better than nothing sometimes. But I think that it'll be unless they are just at rock bottom, and that's probably not the people they're looking for, because they're not gonna have probably as good as benefit as somebody who's a little bit more high functioning. We have a lot of research on stem cells and things like that as well, and so I think all the tools, use them for the right person.
I got a question about I'm right here. I got a question about your community partners and your target market. I'm a little confused actually. So
Yeah.
when I see your services, I'm thinking about my parents.
Mhm.
So they're 70-ish and they're wanting to extend their useful lives, and taking the neurological diseases part out of the equation. I see that, so I'm thinking community partnerships like your clients are at the Elks Lodge.
Yeah.
They're not at the Kombucha Lounge, they're not at the bike.
I don't know, not
Like, the
necessarily.
partners are like 30-something hipsters, but in your target market, 60, 70, 80-year-olds that want to...
Not necessarily, no. I mean,
Oh.
that is a part, but I think when we come to neurofitness, and I'm talking about that early stage MS patient, that's your 30s and 40s.
Yeah, I understand, again,
That
I
is-
understand the neurological end, but
Yeah.
everything else you're seeing here, all I'm thinking about is like, how do I get my mom enrolled in this?
No.
Because, so if that is not the target, and it's just strictly neurological advancements in beating that clock, I understand. But I see functional health and mental, improving mental stuff. My dad is paranoid about all these things. He works out 3 times a day. He's always doing, what's this, the puzzles? Yeah, I mean, he's paranoid about all those things, and he would be signing up for this stuff all day, and he's 72. So I'm thinking with you, like community partnerships, the opportunity of creating affinity programs where that population, active lifestyle senior centers, a 20% discount if you are in this club for seniors that you get these services.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I think that's one of the things we have. That's one of our challenges, and we also have different parts and pieces, because you're right, there may be some folks from an older demographic who, when I talk to them about exercise, like they come in and do the brain tune-up program, and they're like, I'm in the garden. I'm like, okay, well that's great, but that's not gonna get the response we need for your brain.
I walk 3 miles a day.
With my dog at this pace, right? It's not the same. So that is some of the challenge, but there's parts of the program that speak to that. And so each of us bring people into the clinic from different spaces. And so with neurofitness, from a neurofitness, the fitness center marketing, I may not be speaking to that 70-year-old person. I may be speaking to the 45-year-old who has a recent diagnosis, or they're experiencing all these productivity challenges. Like, why is brain fog? Like, what is happening to my brain? I've got to do something. Oh, what is this exercise piece of this? I'm sitting at my desk all day. So while yes, you're absolutely right, I think from an overall clinic marketing perspective, that's absolutely a demographic we speak to. Neurofitness has a little bit different, but the two play together. So that is part of our challenge, though. You absolutely can.
So with your parents and stuff being paranoid, there's testing that you can do genetically to see if they are at a higher risk of developing, say, Alzheimer's disease or memory loss. And it's testing that their insurance covers. So besides like a cheek swab for their ApoE4 gene, which is the gene for Alzheimer's disease, or one of them anyway, it's the highest predictor. They could come in and have that. They could have a visit with Dr. Sharlin, use their insurance, which I'm sure is probably Medicare since they're in their 70s. They pay $99 for the cheek swab, and then that would take away some peace of mind. Like, for example, memory loss runs heavily in my family, and so I have one of the genetic markers for Alzheimer's disease. I'm scared to death that my grandma, who's in her 70s, would have it as well. She's super active, always outside, always doing that stuff to engage her brain, but I noticed her repeating some things, right? Repeating, and she lives in Florida. I had her come up, do her program. She has one of the genetic markers, but she has 0 hippocampal volume loss. She's, doing great. It was her hormones. How many people, and even men, so you're sitting in here, right? How many of you feel fatigued? Yeah, right? How many of you feel fatigued? And when you go to the doctor and you have your hormones checked, they're like, it's low, but it's normal, right? You're at a low normal. That's not optimal for your brain. So we don't care, as long as you're not trying to have babies, right? And maybe you are, but that's not what we're talking about. But when you look at your hormones, your parents, your mom, for example, women develop memory loss 4 times greater than men because they have no hormones after menopause. None. Men, so my husband, for example, he feels terrible. I can always tell when his testosterone wears off. He has bioidentical hormones, they're pellets that we do. It's great for everybody, let me be clear. As long as you don't have, we do all of the testing and the checking to make sure that you're not at risk, but there was this big scare about 10, 20 years ago that hormones were bad for you, right? Well, they're really actually great for your brain and you need them. He gets super moody and emotional and takes naps during the day, and I'm like, what is wrong with you? And I'm like, your pellets are wearing off. Comes back, he feels great, he has the energy. So when it comes to like partners, it's just harder to find, I think, especially when it comes to like the 70s and the Elk Lodge and like there are other places, like assisted living places, and people are like, well, I eat pretty clean, you know? And I'm like, okay, well, what does that mean to you? Because just because it's better than what you were doing, so I'm really proud of you, right? I have to say that a lot. You are making steps, and that's great. But that doesn't mean that that's what you should be doing, and these places don't promote that. So if there's somewhere that you know, and that's why we're here, right? If there's somewhere that you know that supports making changes and optimizing things for people that are older, please tell us. We'd love to be their community partner, and we'd love to be able to give people a discount and stuff to come in and have assessments. Like we do, you know, free consultations with people. I talk to people all day, Wednesdays and Thursday afternoons, where I'm just trying to help them find the best fit. And if it's not us, that's okay too, right? It's just we want to be a service and provide help to our community and people who don't know things.
Joseph?
Did that help better? Okay.
Just out of curiosity, you guys said you were outside of Ozark.
Mhm.
So plans for expansion, obviously I know you guys just opened business, but one of the things that you look at is accessibility, right?
Yeah.
How far are people willing to drive and that time commitment as far as that goes. So what does that look like with maybe partnering with other clinics that are here where you're not necessarily having to buy a whole building and do that? Like,
Yeah.
what have you guys been looking at for this area particularly?
Well, we'd love to be able to duplicate our model, and I can tell you that we have patients who come to see us from all across the world, across the country. You know, I probably have less people who come from Missouri than I do from other places, to be honest with you. Like, they literally fly from all across the country to see us.
So yesterday was Colorado, New Jersey,
Virginia.
So we see people more
Yeah.
from outside of this area.
Because Dr. Sharlin, he is one of the only board certified neurologists who's also certified by the Institute for Functional Medicine, who's actually still practicing. Like, he's still seeing patients all day, every day. He's a nurse practitioner, if you guys know of anyone. Talking about clinics. But we'd love to, our goal is to duplicate our model. So we had this really big, hairy, audacious goal that we were gonna open like 4 more centers across the United States. And then we were like, that's a lot of work, right? Like, we're like, we really like being with people. And so we'd like to be able to duplicate our model, especially when it comes to memory. Because especially with aducanumab coming out, it's the new Alzheimer's drug that has been fast-tracked through the market. What?
$56,000.
Yeah, so there's a clinical trial though, their extension study, and most of our patients I think will fall into that extension study. And then CMS, so Medicare, is going to be coming out probably in November with their response on what they'll cover and what they won't. And so Dr. Sharlin, I read over his protocol yesterday actually, is piloting that protocol for other places, because right now we're the only clinic, one place, single clinic that can provide the PET scanning, MRIs with Neuro and everything in this area. I mean, there are other hospital systems that said no to this, and we said yes, because we know it's an underserved need.
Let me grab that real quick.
So to that point though, trying to meet people where they are, we recently launched our online coaching program. So we have Brain Tune-Up University, which we meet every other week. One of the experts from our team teaches. We have our workbook, we have our guide, we give them homework. They're part of the community, and they can access that information. And those, I just want to get started with some basic steps. Maybe they don't have the resources to do the full program for the testing. So for $24.99, they can join us virtually. I mean, they can have a Q&A with a board certified neurologist. I mean,
Yeah,
that's worth
literally live
$24.99.
questions.
Yeah, we do the teaching and then we do Q&A and practice. So we launched that in May, and that's been going really well. And so we're trying to figure out also how we promote and scale that, because we want to offer people those initial steps.
Awesome. Have another question?
Yeah, there are couple of things that I thought of. One was, I was curious how you talked about the 5-day fasting. I am curious how you feel about intermittent fasting as a lifestyle. And then secondly, also I just read an article, actually I was looking up things on your website and kind of seeing who Dr. Walls was and stuff. And somewhere in there I read an article about the combined problems people are having because they became so sedentary during the pandemic. And my daughter is just 30, she lives up in St. Louis. Everybody was sent home to work from home, and she's just a prime example of this, and has now taken a new position that is totally online, doesn't want to go back to any office. But it brings with it, you know, I was talking about the brain fog, the blue light, and I'm sure you all deal with that because it's also brain related. And so speaking to your desire to reach that generation as well, you know, I think it's critical to grab the 30-year-olds, for example.
Rehab, not rehab.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So fasting mimicking diet, I would say I've seen people like all across the board with this. They do well, some don't do well, some have like blood sugar issues, or they, you know, I've seen people with type 2 diabetes where they kind of bottom out. So I'd say definitely make sure you ask your physician, or if you don't have one, I know a good one. But that being said, like I'm intermittent fasting now, currently. Like today, am I perfect doing it? No. Some days I wake up and I ate my lunch at 7:30. I think I said that earlier. You know, it doesn't work all the time, and you have to listen to your body. But I can tell you that hormonally, I feel a lot better when I personally intermittent fast. And there's a lot of research on intermittent fasting, and our bodies are not designed to eat all day, every day. Now, if you are high energy and you're doing a lot of like body lifting and things like that, you need to, you know, follow what your needs are. But most of us are not doing that, and we're snacking all day long, which is driving our insulin and our glucose up and in weird, you know, doing weird stuff. And then we wonder why we have all these pains in our knees, and, you know, we're carrying all this extra, you know, belly fat, and why we just feel so tired. And a lot of times people, when they start to move and they intermittent fast, they feel a lot better. Now, is it hard to do on your own? Yes, it is. I know, I struggle with it. Like sometimes my kids are like, I want breakfast. I'm like, okay, protein pancakes it is, and I'm not fasting today. You know, you just have to go with what's real. But there is a lot of research on it that it is beneficial, especially if you have any type of insulin resistance or glucose issues.
And as someone who's a type 1 diabetic, and we're, you know, I see my glucose all the time on my CGM, you know, I do a more of what I call time restricted on the weekends, and I can see the difference that it makes in my blood sugar, like my sensitivity when I do that longer, the bigger window when I'm not eating, when I sort of restrict that ever so slightly. And it's not long, it's just a subtle change from the weekday, but you can definitely see that. And certainly, yes, Dr. Walls and a lot of people have been talking about the decrease in physical activity since shelter in place started and everybody started working from home, and we see that a lot. I joke that I'm the only one that lost weight during shelter in place because I was working out with every person virtually, and I was moving all day long, and I'm like, oh my God, I can't keep this pace up. But the other thing, and this is something that we can also help with, is what we're seeing post-COVID syndrome are those cognitive issues, the brain fog, the neurological issues. And so that is another piece of the puzzle that we have to get our message around, because there are a lot of people, and I've started to see them come to the fitness center. I can't remember words in the middle of my presentations now. I have this fog, I can't function. What is going on with my brain? And we're just starting to learn what's going on there, but we certainly can help people with that.
People need connection and community.
Time for 2 more questions, then we'll move to Open Connect.
Yes, I come from a wellness background myself, and your presentation was really informative. But I had a question regarding workplace wellness, and we all may know this or may not know that I have heard of a lot of employers that say that workplace wellness is essential for growth and prosperity and all of that. So I was just curious if you considered entering the wellness market, corporate wellness market specifically.
Absolutely, and we'd love to do that. And if anybody has anything that they feel, you know, they want to do lunch and learns or talks, I have done those prior to working with the clinic, and I've worked with other companies, and so I'm always open. I mean, we can take our brain tune-up curriculum, and we have other curriculum and program. Our health coach has some curriculum that we can use. and bring that into an office setting. That is something we're very open to if people are interested in learning more.
We talk a lot about boundaries too. Like, I know from running an office and having a fitness center, how many times I've been in there to actually work out. I mean, I'm just being honest here, you know? It's because you have to learn how to set boundaries at work too, right? You get busy during the day and you're like, oh, I worked through lunch. Bummer, you know, sat at my desk and ate. And actually like setting those dedicated times just like you would to do any other task at your job. So unless the employer is willing to say, this time of the day, everyone's working out or going in shifts, right? Or whatever it may be. Sometimes it's hard to implement, and I know that as the person who's implementing. And so I think that is really great, and being able to talk about it and offer that is definitely something that you can connect with us for.
Okay, mine's kind of a twofold question. The first part of it is, are you guys taking insurance? Because I haven't heard anything about if you guys are accepting insurance or.
Clinic, fitness center, no.
Gotcha.
So it's not physical therapy. Unfortunately, the insurance industry is not woke enough to understand that movement is very, very effective medicine.
So second thing is, so I'm 31. I have a CSF leak. I don't know if anyone's familiar with that, but so for me, my life has kind of totally done a 180. I used to run and work out, and now I'm like, they're like, you can't do any of that because you could damage your CSF leak even worse. So how do you deal with patients that maybe have debilitating illnesses or conditions who are wanting to do something like this, but are also skeptical or scared?
Sure, and so that always starts with one, kind of again, knowing the background and the history, right? That's part of the investigate, understanding where you are. And there are a lot of technologies, some of them we have to refer out, some of them looking at bringing in. So for example, vibration plate therapy, that's a movement therapy that's a little more passive, but you're still getting that muscle stimulation. E-stim, or functional electronic stimulation, not a tool that we have, but again, those are things that can be referred out, or there are companies you can buy them for yourselves, and we can kind of help you figure out how that fits into your plan. So the right option may not be to work out with me in the fitness center, but doing that, and just like Kaylee, I do consultations all the time and say, okay, here's where you can start. What does your breathing practice look like? How are you using that to get in touch with your body, reduce your stress level? Sometimes we think of, exercise is a great way to complete the stress cycle. We're getting the heart rate down, the body understands that, and then we can go back to that nice, parasympathetic nervous system state. Sometimes we have to skip the high and just get to the low and get into that more mind-body type of movement, like Tai Chi, yoga, those types of things. So we're bringing in some people to do classes. So we'll start Tai Chi in August. We're doing yoga right now. So again, sometimes it's that concierge. Like, what are the tools? What's the plan? And then getting you the resources to execute it. If it's not us, then we'll try to help you find the right person.
Awesome, let's give them a hand this morning. Very good. Thank you, ladies, so much. I want to encourage you to stick around as we open up for more coffee and connecting, but I want to